Hello, everyone. Today is July 12th, 2023. This is the Kubernetes Data Protection Working Group meeting. And I think today we continue to talk about the CPT cap. So who will be giving an update? Carl, Yvonne, Prasad?
Yeah, sure. So we've uploaded we finished writing, at least making a first pass of writing the cap. I pasted the link in the chat. And Ivan, Prasad, I think it's ready for review. At least first pass, people can look at it. We can also share it with the SIG security team, Xing.
Okay.
Ivan has done most of the boilerplate work here because he has history over what's there, so that the information on the test plans and all, so some things may not are there from previous things, and the main things we filled in are the proposal and design detail sections.
Hey, do you want to, maybe it's better for you to share, so you can just go over the section, tell us what is there, what is not there. Maybe that's better for me. Let's see, do I make you the co-host? Okay, so that you can share.
Give me a second. Get my Zoom set up correctly. 1 second. Let's share that. There we go. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So this is the new change block tracking updated PR. Okay. So we filled in the proposal section, the design details section. For the most part, this part onwards, the test plan and all are kind of boilerplate, right? But we really haven't focused on it, right? So essentially, we've gone. I guess we've gone from motivation to about test plan. So the rest of it, I think Ivan filled up a lot of it from his previous attempt, right? He had a lot of information there, which he reused, and he had experience there filling that stuff up. So
yeah, we fill up the production readiness review section and all the alternatives, like which is some high level description of the previous prototypes. The test plan itself right now is a bit light on the content, just because even looking back at some of the previous cap, like we just don't know how much details we need to put into a test plan. We need to revise it, like, because this was put together before the design solution was added or written down. So yeah, we'll do another pass on it to update the test plan.
Yeah.
Maybe like trying to strike the balance between too much test steps versus like just enough to convey what we wanted to cover in our testing.
Yeah, I mean, we will give it some more thought. Now we've got the bulk of it out of the way. We can briefly go over what's there, right? Again, nothing should be a surprise to people who've seen the presentation over here. There have been tweaks in the sense that we resolved names, right? We looked at some of the names we had used in the previous thing, and we threw out some and changed things. So, you'll see that over there. There is this section here on the user stories, right? Anyway, so the way you read this thing is this proposal section has the, I guess, a story like non-detailed introduction to what the whole thing is about. So you read this section first, you should get a gist of everything. And this includes the overall figure, updated, of course, to reflect all the new names. Then, there's a user stories section which talks about, by the way, these are not our sections, okay? I mean, this is what the template requires, but it's a nice template. So the user story section, which describes from a consumer perspective, what you're going to get out of this. So, we fill those out. Some caveats, etc., right, which are worth paying attention to. And then this actually was a tough section, the risks and mitigation. So we talk a lot, over the last few months, right? We've addressed a lot of these issues, but we forget about them because, once we address, we move on. So this resurfaced a lot of the issues and what we had brought up in the discussions, right? And hopefully we've captured them all. If not, please chime in and, identify them so we can make sure they're plugged, right? So big thing about the spoofing and other things, the security model without naming precise roles, right? Just the need for security and what permissions are required and why. So all that is laid out in that section. And then there's the detailed design section, which talks about the gRPC itself, right? And a description of all those fields. Then the deliveries, the Kubernetes components which we're proposing have to be there, right? There's the session manager piece, the metadata service, right? The sidecar. So then we talk about the custom resources used to implement all these things, right? The details are there. This is stuff we had demonstrated a lot in the prototype. So that 3 of these CRs, which are described in gory detail over here. And then, descriptions of the community provided component and the SP component. That's the session manager piece. What is it got? What does it do? The sidecar piece, right? What's its job? How does it do it? And what the vendor has to provide in terms of the snapshot session service. So that is pretty much what we've got so far.
Hey, Carl.
Yeah.
Has there been any attempts to simplify the security model and have less tokens and secrets flying around?
Yeah, we picked up, we updated it to reflect the suggestions you made last time, Ben. So for example, the volume the volume snapshot content, volume snapshots, right? We just require that the driver have access to that. We looked at a few actual implementations, and every implementation has its own way of granting its CSI driver service account these permissions. So we backed out of the role. We had proposed roles, etc. We dropped all that and said, let the implementation decide how they're going to get these permissions in. So there was a simplification in that perspective, but we're just calling out what is needed.
Well, yeah, so I really like the current design for like how the data flows and what connects to what.
Yeah.
And what I remember being a little intimidated by was just the thinking through of like who has access to what secrets and what does that actually like tell you. I guess you mentioned earlier having SIG Security looked at that, and I really like that idea because I think they're probably better equipped to think through the weird corner cases. But I guess to the extent that we can make it simpler, like it makes everyone's job easier. It makes our job easier, makes their job easier, and it'll probably be more secure. And so I was just, so I'm glad to hear it's gotten simpler. I did just the specific mechanism is that there's some internal component that will be community provided that will actually be generating some kind of secret short-lived tokens that will flow from that community component through Kubernetes to the backup software, and the backup software will provide it to back to what? Or I'm trying to remember. Does the backup software talk directly to the SP?
It talks
And-
to the sidecar, and the sidecar basically shields the SP from all this token stuff.
Okay, so then that sidecar completes the authentication step and says, okay, this person is allowed, or this client is allowed to be asking for this data, and
That
then
is
the
right.
SP just provides the data, assuming that the authentication has been done.
That's correct.
So okay, so it's really just this one short-lived token
Yes,
that makes a round trip that is our security mechanism. We're not relying on anything else.
that is correct. I mean, there's
Okay.
RBAC protecting all those things, and
Oh,
that's
yeah. But I mean, at the nuts and bolts level, there's one secret that gets generated by our code and
yes.
and flows around through the backup software, and then it's checked by our code, and the vendor doesn't have to even worry about it. Like that's the best. That's the
Yeah,
best
that is
possible
correct.
situation, I think.
That
Okay.
is correct. Yeah.
So Ben, one of the things that we have, so in terms of like I'm trying to simplify the mechanism, like I think like I think like we have like put quite a bit of thoughts into it to see how if it is possible to simplify it further. I guess maybe part of it is like you know, we are too deep into like the design, like from this at this point, like we just don't see like how it can be simpler.
Yeah, no,
You know,
it
and hence
sounds like we've boiled it down as far as we can go.
yeah, and hence like having that external voice from Six Security like might help. You know, maybe like they will open another thing that we have not seen. But you know, I guess like it really boils part of it. It really boils down to like if we want at this point, right? Like if we want to do token, I think this is as simple as we can think of. Maybe some external opinions that say, oh, actually, there's a simpler way that would be great. But you know, yeah, if you want to do token mechanism, this is as simple as we can think of.
Yeah, I think that we have to provide the context to any security reviewers that like this is a somewhat unique problem we're trying to solve, where we have a system component that needs to be able to authenticate these REST API, or sorry, not REST API, these gRPC connections, but it has to be multiplexed to potentially multiple storage devices, and we need a mechanism that sort of just works. And that's just something that Kubernetes hasn't done before, I think, which is why we're inventing something new.
Right.
Right.
So for what
so
is
the first pushback you'll get is like, why don't you just do this like everyone else? And then we need to explain, you know, because we're solving a problem that hasn't been solved before. And then I think the rest of the conversation should just be about, you know, is it actually secure?
Right.
yeah. So sorry, what is like everyone else doing in terms of like are you
Hold on,
referring to like,
I have to take a phone call. I'll be right back.
okay. So I guess like while we have been waiting for Ben, like so Xing and Xiangchen, like we noticed that for what is worth, we noticed that there is this thing called like the token request API within the CSI driver. Do you guys know like what the review process of that thing looks like? I mean that I totally understand there are different features, but was it like did you guys have to bring it to Six Security or like
Oh, you mean the security part? So I have pinned. It's actually not security, it's tag security. So there are some folks there. I linked the issue in the in this cap itself. I just pin them and see what they want to do. They want to come to this meeting, or if they want us to present this in their meeting, or what they want to do. So I have pinned them. So let's see.
Xing, did you pin Jordan or whom?
No, this is not. This is the tag security. This is the tag, the CNCF tag security. There are
I see.
a couple of folks there.
Yeah, so sorry, I'm not talking about this cap. I'm talking about like you know how like inside the CSI driver spec, there's like a actual token request API. I just want to get a sense of what that review process looked like back then. Just so that you know, like we know we are contacting the right forums and talking to the right people. Am I?
I don't know, that was a while ago.
Oh,
I'm not sure that whether that went through any security review per se. This is basically the controller will call that to get the token back. The controller is assumed that you use a service account, which should have access to if not all, vast majority of the CSI calls directly.
okay. Okay.
So Jordan is in SIG auth, right? So they have there's a SIG security and a SIG auth. There's tag security.
Yeah, Jordan is in auth, but in general,
Yeah.
auth is part of the security and compliance.
Okay. Ben, are you back?
Yeah, I'm back.
Oh, okay. I was just asking Xing and Shangchen for what it's worth, we noticed that there is like inside the CSI driver spec, there is this some token request API. I know it's like completely different features, but I just want to get a sense of like what that, if you folks know what that review process looked like back then.
That's a particular feature. I think that was driven by someone from, it's a different SIG. That person maybe is from SIG auth or something. He's from a different, yeah.
Okay.
It's actually not someone in SIG storage, at least not someone who is working in SIG storage actively. So it's like a joint project between us and maybe SIG auth. So I have to check.
Okay. Okay.
But
I just
that was related to some very concrete like use case where you're actually using tokens to like authenticate workloads to storage devices, and token has a special meaning in that context, right? It's not a generic token API.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to make sure, eventually we're gonna like going forward from here, we'll end up talking to the right forums, contacting the right people and stuff like that. But that's okay. I'm just curious anyways.
Yeah. Yeah, and Ben, in regards to the last point you made, I think Ivan had at the bottom of this thing, right? His over here, right? Alternatives, right? I think some of the history over here of what we did, right, will explain why the model works this way, right? It's down here, and I think at the beginning where we talk about the goals, right, to essentially relay a large amount of snapshot metadata without overloading the Kubernetes API server, right? So if you read the CAP linearly, at least until you come down to the risk section, right, then I think it'll convey to security reviewers, right, why we're doing what we're doing.
Yeah, probably. I guess I'm just thinking even a very thorough read will not have all the history, and we should just be prepared to, summarize briefly like why this is a somewhat unique problem where we have 3 different parties acting, and we're trying to multiplex possibly multiple backup vendors and multiple storage vendors all in the same cluster at the same time, and we need a mechanism for everyone to talk to everyone securely.
So perhaps we just need a high level kind of diagram of the solution to show the use case, the actors, and the interactions.
Yeah,
I think it's this diagram, but much higher level.
That would be helpful to a security reviewer, I think, because yeah, Kubernetes has some very established patterns, and we're not following them, and it sort of puts the onus on us to explain why. And I think we have the right answers, but it'll help other people get there faster.
Yeah, I try again. In terms of the alternatives and history that we explore. Yeah, again, I try to strike a balance there. I don't want like those sections to get too heavy and just kind of overshadow the rest of the content. One thing that I think we Carl and I did discuss is like as folks read through this, like you will notice that like there's a bit of a deviation from, I guess, I guess it kind of boils down to nomenclature as well. Like the deviation from like change block tracking to snapshot Carl, do you want to just quickly explain that to everyone here, like why there's a little bit of a switch?
I'm not sure if I follow what. I mean, it is about change blocks and off snapshots, right? I mean, between snapshots. So not. What's the nuance you're getting at here, Evan?
I guess it's more like I was just trying to recall like what we were, where did our discussion led us to? I guess it's more like previously in the previous cap, like you know, we used terminologies and naming convention that directly reflect things like there is the snapshot changes, you know, the block level changes,
Right.
the deltas, you know, things like that, right? So at least like the concept of the diff and the deltas were represented like throughout the cap and the namings and all those things. But here, like everything is more around like the snapshot sessions and
Yeah, wait.
I
So,
guess
yeah, that's, I see what you mean. Yeah. So the previous caps, right? The focus was a lot about transmitting the data efficiently through various things. Like we went through the Ag API, we went through all sorts of things, right? To try and reduce the load. We actually got rid of all that because we're saying the application just uses the gRPC directly. So we don't focus as much on the blocks. You're right. But instead, most of the focus is on how do we securely set up this. See, I mean, if you look at all this, right, 90% of or higher of the time an application will actually spend in doing this transfer here, right? But all the stuff around it is to set up to make this transfer secure. So you're right. Yes, we don't focus on the actual transfer as much, but it's spec'd out, right? The details are there in the here, down here in this API. I mean, lots of gory detail over here.
Yeah, and just like you know, I want to make sure that you know folks on this call, like when they read this cap, like you know, maybe there's something to just a minor detail to keep in mind there.
Yeah, please feel free to put comments on this thing now. I think we are ready to take comments. And if you all have any better, you know, any suggestions of how to abstract out a security threat. I mean, I was just thinking based on what y'all just said, there's some sort of notion of a security threat diagram, right? And that's essentially how you define security policies. So if we can come up with some abstract security threat model for what we're doing here, you know, we know the actors here, right? And then we can kind of try to figure that out. But any suggestions would be welcome.
Hey, so I just checked the SIG auth. So they have meetings on Wednesdays. I think there's one meeting which should be next Wednesday. So we could add this in the agenda. It's
would they have time to read the cap though? I mean, it's really too much to, you know, we have to pass the cap to them to read before we get in the meeting.
Yeah, but you have to put it on their agenda, right? You maybe
sure, absolutely, yeah.
Maybe you have to go there twice. That's also possible since it is definitely complicated.
Yes.
It's not like you ask people to review, they will have time.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Also code freeze is coming. So that I'm just saying people may be busy with those. So but
yeah. So Xing, let us know what is the best way to socialize this. You know, there's a lot of concepts, there's a lot of reading to take in here. So, you know, if you feel like the best way to do it is just we just show up and then like
yeah, you present it, so get their attention. So I look at their let's see, we did go there once for the what is this other feature? What's this other feature? For the volume mode conversion thing, we did go there once. So basically we just bring it up there and then we tell them what's the problem and then they give us suggestions. But that one, of course, is a much simpler problem than this one, right? But we just showed up. We just added this thing in their meeting agenda. I look at their agenda. They have a meeting last week. It says cancel due to no agenda. So what we can do is we can just add our thing in their next week's. Well, actually, let's see. What is the next week? Right, so in 2 weeks, there should be next week. So it's 11 a.m. Pacific time.
So this is SIG off, right? So people like
See-
Rita, they're all right.
Right, Jordan. Yeah.
Rita, Jordan, they're okay. Got it. Would it? I guess the other.
So let me. I put this. I put the agenda here. You guys can, if you want to go there and just add it. So I put it here. Okay, I put it in our agenda.
Sure.
Yes.
For again, just for the sake of exploration, because like just like something that I said earlier, just planted a thought in my head is like is I guess like just for the sake of reviewing, making it easier for sake of there to review, like would it be helpful at all if we try to separate the cap into two parts, like the gRPC part and then the off around it part?
Well, no, then they will be asking for you for those anyway, right? So just it's
okay.
okay. Yeah,
So
just
it's better to just
have
do
every
one.
information there. Yeah, you have them into different sections, right? So they can selectively read it.
I mean, it's a bit challenging, but if you read it linearly from top to bottom, right, it does have a flow.
Yeah, so basically I guess, let's say if you decide to go there next week, so just, show them your diagram, try to explain to them what that is, try to not to dive into too much details, but of course, when it
No, if we have a chance, I mean, we'll update the slide deck to reflect the cap now. I mean, right now, the cap reflects the last slide deck, but it's been updated, so we'll flip it back. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and we'll keep it short. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So basically,
is this the security?
I'm sorry. No, I was talking about this is actually, I was just gonna say there are so many different groups. SIG-Auth. Shantian was talking about Jordan, right? Jordan is in SIG-Auth. SIG-Auth. No, also, but I also pinned the tag security. In tag security, there are people who are in both tag security and SIG security. Anyway, so I basically pinned. So I know I added an issue there, right? So there are some folks saying that they can help. Let's see if they get a chance to take a look.
Okay.
Maybe we can start with some SIG office before we bring it to tag security. Because my understanding of tag is like they are not necessarily just Kubernetes, right? They are like under the CNCF umbrella.
They are, they are looking at
so.
but it's still a lot of projects they are actually built around on Kubernetes anyway, right? And also there are a lot of people who are in both tag security and SIG security. So it's okay, because someone, if they want to review it, they can take a look, and then if they have questions, they can reach out to us, right? So we don't have to actually pin them right now. Basically now just we let them know this is there, they can review it. Let's see if we go to SIG-Auth, we can get some more concrete feedback on whatever our proposal is, and see if they have any suggestions, comments.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay, so Xiangqian dropped. And okay, looks like Dan also dropped. Okay. So do we have anything else we want to go over in this meeting? And I think we already presented this one at the CSI community sync. Right, so that seems to be fine. Okay. All right, then if there is nothing else, then that's it for today.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, folks.